Ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what time it is. We're not going to waste any time getting into this reaction. I have not been spoiled, but I've been told by numerous people to not get spoiled. I was actually told Monday afternoon that the spoilers were really hyped, which that might be a record for me to get a warning. And so we're going to get into it pretty quick. I'm also going to not look at the chat because I was told by a couple mods that spoilers are getting out of hand. And, you know, whenever the chapters are this crazy, I understand, you know, try not to spoil me, but I'm not going to look. So if you guys do a super chat or a member message, I will get to that right whenever we're done with the reaction. But a couple announcements first. So I told you guys that I would get a video done after the last chapter on a lot of the Brook stuff, and I did, so I kept the promise. I just didn't release it because I didn't finish it until Monday afternoon after I got that warning. So I sat there for a little bit thinking about the pros and cons of releasing it, and if I did release it and I got stuff wrong, I'd be getting messages all week or you know, comments. So I decided not to release it, but it is ready to release if I wanted to, so we'll see what this chapter has. I might get to add to it, maybe I'll have to change stuff, who knows, but I should have a video out on the Brook stuff relatively soon, and then we'll see what else this chapter has. And then the other announcement I had real quick, before we get into it, because like I said, I do not want to get spoiled, I want to get into it, but I did want to go ahead and donate 5 memberships from YouTube, because we had 5 more to give this month, so I wanted to make sure you guys got those. Oh, and actually a secret third announcement is, I think last stream I told you guys that I was going to get the afro out, because I do have a couple afros, because apparently that's what Brook fans do, is just collect afros. But I have a couple of them, and so I do have one, but I'm going to wait until I got to see if we get back into the Brook stuff. If it's all emu stuff, then I'm going to save it, because this is a Brook-centric thing, but it is here if we get into it, and then I'll put that on and wear it, because Brook deserves it. This is almost like my version of King Recon's Santa hat, except it's an afro, so I feel like that's appropriate. So, like I said, we're going to get into it here very shortly, because I do not want to risk getting spoiled, and I also don't want you guys to wait, because, like I said, I've heard enough hype about this chapter, so just let me go ahead and get some music on, because I always forget to do that until the stream starts. Alright, this one will do. Alright, and also it's very hot in my room, so if I'm sweating, that is 50-50 because of the temperature and, you know, the heat of the chapter here, so if you're wondering. I have the AC on full blast, it's not doing the trick, but, and if anybody was worried about my cat Larry, if anybody remembers this, he had to go get surgery, he just got neutered, but it's a special situation. He's all good now, he's all better. He's downstairs in my room, isolated, because he's still healing, but he's dying to get out and come join us, so if anybody was curious. And also, I have the door shut, so you guys probably won't hear Cliff today, because I did not want him to interrupt, but Cliff is also excited. But alright guys, now we're actually going to get into it. One Piece chapter 1150, Doi Reversy. And so we got another continuation of the Yamato cover story. We see page 1, in Ulti here, as Yamato's new scabbards, as you know, we kind of presumed. Yasuye's sword is laid to rest at Enma Shrine in Hakumai. Pilgrimage complete. Alright, so this is saying that the whole pilgrimage is over, which I don't know if it was with Sai, I can't remember, but one of the collabs I did, we went back through the cover story and kind of covered all the steps, and Yamato did go to more places than I thought, so I don't think they've been to Ringo, though, if I remember correctly. That's like the one area that they haven't gone to, so I don't know if that'll happen, but we might be going on to the next segment of this. I don't know what Oda has planned, you know, Kaido, Big Mom, I don't know, but it's cool to see some more progress here. It's funny how some of the areas took like over 10 chapters to get done, or mainly the last one really did, was like 10 or 15 or whatever. But this one's like 1. They just pull up and it's just a 1-chapter situation, but... And it's kind of sad, because like Yasuye, I mean, that's a goat, but whatever, we'll see what that cover story has in store. It's also cool that that page 1 is wearing the thing with the symbol, like the ancient kingdom symbol / this was also in the Kazuki crest, right, like in the middle of it, so that symbol is pretty important. So that's interesting that page 1's wearing it. Now Ulti's also wearing it on their shoulder, so that's very interesting. There's actually a lot to pull from that one. But alright, let's get into the meat of the chapter, because I know that's what y'all are waiting for. And I gotta adjust this light a little bit, because, man, I think it's, like, smart. It's like it tries to adjust over the stream, and, like, sometimes it gets really bright. I don't know why that is. Maybe I'm moving. I don't know. But, alright, here we go. Into the actual chapter. The children. Thank God they're all right. Bar guy. My daddy was pushed down into the realm of the dead. What? Yasan fell? All right, so I want. Is it gonna be Chopper? Is it gonna be Luffy? Who's gonna find him? That mean lady did it. Watch out. Dad, Mama. She's floating? You must have been scared. Let's get you away quick. Whoa, what? This dude's yelling out. He's just in massive pain. It kind of... Okay, is this This is mayhem. So is this a Conqueror's hockey thing? I see everyone else passing out. So is this just a huge Conqueror's blast? The first guy reminded me a little bit of, like, remember how Saturn, you know, did the eye sniping thing? You know, whenever he said, like, only a certain rank can look over here, then he sniped a couple of guys with his eyes. It kind of reminded me of that at first, but now it seems like more like a Conqueror's hockey thing, because, like, everybody is getting knocked out, which I gotta remind everyone, remember how big, you know, Elbaf is, so there's a lot of space here, so the fact that Emu, I mean, we'll see how far this reaches, but I mean, I feel like that's impressive. And also, the floating thing is cool. Man, what a good start. Whoa. Oi, okay. Whoa. So I see the pentagram circle getting used like an attack. Jolt? What is that, bro? Okay. Emu is... I shan't permit a rebellion. Is this all your dream demons amount to, Killingham? This panel with the devil... Okay. So, remember how Emu used the devil's tail attack? The YouTube thumbnail arrow attack, as we like to call it? We see where that probably came from now, right? And a lot of people have made the connection between Gunko having the arrow fruit in this, and we'll see what that connection really is. But seeing that tail there, that's crazy. I also am thinking of Stussy a lot right now, because remember Stussy had the bat fruit? I can't remember exactly what it was, but reminds me very much of that in a lot of ways. This panel is so sick. How many people were spoiled by this? Like, did people go and turn this into a thumbnail already? Because, like, I can see the beauty in making this a thumbnail, but I feel like this is something that people would get spoiled on, like, because it's such an obvious thumbnail focus, you know what I mean? So I feel really bad for anybody that got spoiled on that, because that's the type of thing where if you look at it, you can't delete it from your mind. You know what I mean? Like, if they show up a picture of Emu in general and say, "Oh, big hype Emu moment," like, okay, it's kind of a spoiler, but you could have presumed. This, if you see this image, it's etched into your brain for eternity. You know what I mean? So, Emu's got some mad aura. That's all I gotta say. That's crazy. And I also love the smack talk here. Is this all your dream demons amount to, Killingham? It's like this is what a real demon is, kind of thing. So, and I've been pointing that out for a while, that Killingham's, you know, monsters, like, they're not the real things. They're poor kids' drawings. They're not that strong. So Killingham should have more, you know, in the tank. But let's see what else is going on here. I don't want to take too long, even though that panel was absolutely insane. Not at all, my lord. There are still many nightmare fissures left open. Nightmare fissures. These monsters were born from the nightmares of this island. They are creatures made from dreams, with no concept of death. I can revive them at any time. I just need to give the signal. Okay, so nightmare fissures, that must be each of the nightmares in general. So that means that they're not defeating them for good. And so now we probably have to wonder how you beat them for good with no concept of death. I feel like there's some other plot lines we could go into there. I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, like, not fearing death has been a big thing in One Piece, you know what I mean? Like, going for your dream even if you die, and so I feel like there's maybe some through lines, because these are dreams, so I don't know, maybe I have to think about that, but Oda might be cooking there. But regardless, Summers, shepherd those urchins. At once, my lord. He's still alive? Alright, so I talked about this on Redacted for anybody who saw that video. Where, like, they got hurt, but they weren't dying, so we gotta figure out how this regen works, because I think Scopper just stops regen, but doesn't do permanent damage, if that makes sense. Anyways. He's still alive? The one in the sky is the woman from earlier, right? She's barely recognizable. Where are Luffy and the others now? Well, now Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji should be... They're with Harudin and his crew. This is the worst time they could have chosen to go to the realm of the dead. So why is Brook jumping at his Brook? I can't remember where everybody's been, but I know Nami was with them not that long ago, but Brook wasn't. So why is he butting in? Anyways. What are you doing, Robin? I can't just sit here and do nothing. It's unbearable. So we got Robin here, who's obviously like, like weak to Summer's powers, because she's, a hand-to-hand, like literally like hands everywhere. So she's getting stabbed out the wazoo whenever she's doing this. So that's actually kind of a hard panel here. But we see the school still burning, or the library. It is imperative that we establish a suitable authority. One capable of striking a proper ransom for those adolescents. So now we see him regenerating again. So, I'm trying to reason through this. Is it just because Scopper's not close by now? Is it that he only stops it temporarily? We'll figure it out, I guess. It's just as you say, my lord. What do you do with a country that has no king? Damn you, Gabon. That was painful. Okay, so they obviously do get hurt, but they don't... It's not permanent. Like, that is interesting. Blue Ogre Dory. Red Ogre Brogy. Sorry, the spelling always confuses me. I command thee to claim dominion of this island. So, Imu wants those two to become the kings? I mean, I honestly, like, not a bad choice. It's just, why is Imu jumping in saying this? That is so interesting. Henceforth, ye shall reign as the kings of Elbaf. You're one of those gods' knights? Okay, so does he know them from before, or did he hear earlier? I don't know. Hey you, all this chaos is your fault. He's just punching Imu right in the face, or like grabbing Imu rather. The head getting knocked back made me think of punch, but I don't think that's what happened. I mean, what a flex. I mean, I'm sure Emu's about to get real mad about this, but before I continue, I just gotta say, guys, we have Emu, or at least like a visage of Emu. I don't know what you want to call this, but we have some Emu form active in an arc, like meeting people. Some of the Straw Hats have seen Emu. Like, we just need to take a second to recognize that this is absolutely crazy. Like, I feel like I'm reading too fast for how crazy this is. Dory and the rest of you guys, run up ahead. You got it, Captain. And so he's still holding Emu. And he's just sending everyone forward? Bro. Oh my god. I'm taking those kids back. How many of you are there? Listen, Brogy, go and meet with Mountain Beard Jarl. You shall take his head and raise it up high. What is this book, dude? What? I forgot my water bottle, and boy, do I need it. What is this book? Is it getting... Emu summoning a book? Okay. You shall take his head and raise it up high. So, why is Emu wanting to kill Jarl when Jarl just agreed to burn the school down? You shall take his head and raise it up high. Now we see this book pop out of nowhere. Then proclaim to the people of this island, we are the kings of Elbaf. And now we see something coming out of this book. Bro, what am I about to see? What is on the next panel here? I genuinely, what am I... That's crazy talk. This is our homeland. You don't call the shots here. And now we see weapons just popping out of thin air. Okay, so what's the book? What is this book that just popped up? Like, is this the source of Emu's nonsense? I'm feeling some film red, Tot Musica stuff right now. It also reminds me of, like, Baby 5 for no reason, because Baby 5 makes weapons. Like, bro, what's happening? It would be intolerable to leave this matter unsettled. We got just a double-barrel shotgun all of a sudden. Bro, we're back in Call of Duty. Oh my, what am... Brogy's arm, bro. What is so that's not your typical shotgun. That's not your dad's shotgun. That's something else, bro. Now accept my ungodly power. And we see Brogy, his arm got deleted. Like, is that just a normal... Is this some anti-regeneration stuff? Is that what we're, like... Or is this just straight up his arm actually got blown off normally? You know what I mean? Like, is this... Because it does say now, accept my ungodly power. Bro, either way... His arm, man... This is a crazy... Even if he gets his arm back and whatever... This is an insane panel to see in a One Piece chapter. Oh my lord. The captain's arm. And now we see the hand just sitting there. What, chief? It can't be. The chief is tough as nails. I won't forgive that woman. Thou shalt cast aside thy lifespan for a body unyielding to death. Under Mu's dominion, thou shalt be granted unprecedented strength. No longer shalt thou be bound by reason nor by common sense. Becoming a demon is truly the pinnacle of existence. There are so many theory points or whatever that need to come out of this. Like, thou shalt cast aside thy lifespan for a body unyielding to death. And so that reminds me a lot of Big Mom and Mother Carmel, which they are obviously deeply tied to Elbaf, so that makes a lot of sense. And it seems like they're, like Emu saying, you give me your lifespan, you'll be given unprecedented strength and maybe like eternal youth or immortality, which those aren't necessarily the same. The regeneration, you know, like Garling ages, but maybe he has the regenerations, maybe there is a difference. Regardless, thou shalt now no longer shalt thou be bound by reason nor by common sense. Becoming a demon is truly the pinnacle of existence. So then you also got to think about Robin there, right? Because her accepting her demon side, you know, being the demon child and everything is a big part to her story. Oh my god. I don't know how you even say that word. A curel demonic contract. And now we see the circle appearing under Brogy. A demon? What is she trying to do now? And now here's the question. Do they have to, like, agree to this? Brogy is sinking. Brogy is sinking. The OST I have right now is not appropriate for this. I'm telling you right now. I gotta switch that. All right, this is better. We were on a happy song. It did not align. I'm sinking, and now we see Emu flip her hand, or well, his or her. I guess it's a her because it's Gunko's body. Whatever it is, his or her hand. Doi Reversy. Kanji reads as Black Dominion Reversion. Major shout out to everybody who saw this and did not spoil me. Like, you know, not that somebody would have done it on purpose, but the fact that this nonsense did not get to my ears or eyes before now, I'm so happy. And now, okay, now Brogy is pulling it up out of the ground, and half of him is dark and half is normal. whoa, boss, wait. And so and now the top of him's in. So Brogy went halfway down, and then Emu flips him so that each half gets put in, but only like halfway. I have an interesting thought on why Emu does that, but that just feels weird, right? Like, why not just go all the way in and come back out? I might know the answer, but I'll save that because we got to look at the rest of this. And now Brogy is a demon, apparently. Brogy, the eyes are smoking. They're on fire. I don't know what's happening. We got the sharp teeth. Let's go down here. We see definitely a more devilish looking Brogy. He's also using that hand, so I'm guessing the regeneration part, he just got that. Whoa, he really turned into a demon. He's even bigger now. What happened to you, Captain Brogy? So he also got bigger? Alright, that's crazy. I guess he was mostly the same size as the rest of these guys, so now he's huge. His face is scary. Give the chief back. Chief Brogy would never turn on his comrades. And he just flung everyone out of there. A warrior's pride. And he still laughs the same. Ga ba ba ba. Dude, that's crazy. I feel like I can do anything. This is exhilarating. Whoa, he took out Boss Dory. So Dory just got cooked. And now Dory also is on demon time. Okay. Yeah. Again, same laugh. Let's go. Kill Jarl. Come on, you bastards. This is, like, actually crazy. Like, you look back to chapters like the mural or even the end of the last chapter, which were really hype and in their own way, some of the most shocking chapters that we've ever had. This has to be the most shocking one. Like, bar none. Like, this, I can't believe I'm reading this. Are we sure this is not April Fool's? Like, this is actually, I question that this is real. It's that crazy. Hold on. What are you saying? Chief Dory, you can't take something like that back. We've got to stop these two. What about rescuing the kids? Chiefs, huh? What? What, you guys too? Is it because they were standing between those two? Maybe. In any case, we've got to go. Oh my god, bro. Now we've redone the Nightmares panel from chapter 1142, I think. And we have all the Nightmares, again, alive again from Killingham. Maybe even bigger and stronger than before, I would imagine, because he's probably motivated by Emu to not mess up again. But we got all these demon giants. They got the wings, they got the horns, they got like these trident things. This is the true power of Elbaf. It is not without merit. This nation shall not be laid to waste. It is to be ruled. Let us bear witness to how they serve in the crucible of war. Lord Jarl, you have to run away. Chief Dory and Brogy are acting strange. Run away. Warriors, do not know the meaning of the word run. Alright, Jarl. Alright. And look, I got the right OST playing right now for that moment too. Alright, Jarl. Alright. Look, burning down the school was a mistake, but I like what you're cooking now. And here's the thing, guys. Think about Usopp, because Usopp is a guy who runs away all the time, but usually when push comes to shove, he'll decide not to, right? In a lot of instances, we see this. You think like Dressrosa, where everybody was saying, our legendary hero, come save us. Usopp's running away, and he heard the cries, turned around, came back. Usopp's done that a lot. I think this could be building towards a big Usopp moment right here. I had a video talking about how the Nightmares could lead to it, and now I feel like that might even be more likely because of all this. But now that we see the Giants acting this way, that's even more Usopp hype. Right. That's even better than just the nightmares, because yes, he can motivate the kids to get over their fears and whatever, but he might have to get through to these giants as well. Oh my god, guys, this is actually one of it's probably the most insane thing I've read. Like, Gear 5 is up there, but that's like hype in its own way. This is like literally unbelievable. One theory that I want to say while it's at the top of mind is going back to the Doi Reversy thing and how he flipped. I think, and again, we don't know much about this, so I am spitballing out the wazoo here, but I think that what's happening is Imu only dips them halfway, then flips them, because maybe if they went all the way in, Imu couldn't get them back, right? Because like by flipping them halfway, then flipping, you get the bottom half covered, then you flip them, so the top half gets covered, but the bottom half comes back up, so then you can pull them back out. As where if he went all the way down, maybe they would just be gone forever. Like, I'm spitballing, but that's what I thought of. Like, if they go all the way in, they're gone, is maybe the idea. But, well, my Brook video is all good. That's I definitely want to make some changes to it just because, but I can definitely still release that. So that's good. But now I feel very compelled to do a video on this. I have to let this sit. I'm about to go hang out with one of my friends in about an hour, and he's not caught up on the manga, but he is caught up on the anime pretty much. And I'm gonna have to sit with him for a couple hours, just knowing this happened and just act cool. And that's gonna be real hard, man. That's I'm probably gonna tell him like 5 times, like, dude, you have no idea what's happening. Like, and so I'm gonna get to the super chats in just a second, because I need to see what you guys are saying about this. But the last thing that I want to call out real quick that I noticed is, remember how they made that comment, like, is it because they were standing between those two? Well, that earlier panel, you can kind of see Dory and Brogy, like, literally the 3 that are in a line between them turned also. And so I don't even have a good guess for what's happening there. I mean, it's obviously some proximity thing, I would imagine, but like, now my brain is thinking, are the Straw Hats gonna go into demon mode? But will they go into demon mode but still be good? Is that what Oda is gonna go for? Like, or is it that the D clan can avoid this? Can the D clan not get turned? Will they still be in control? Is that maybe what the D clan is like? That's what the real specialty is for them. And also, remember I did a video not that long ago about how Imu could control all the celestial dragons, which it's funny because the first one Imu controls is Gunko, who doesn't seem to be originally a celestial dragon, so that theory we'll see. But the fact we're seeing Imu turn all these guys into demons that fight for him, like, Imu can turn anyone into, a fighter for their side, apparently. Like, I don't even know if it matters. Maybe the celestial dragons get stronger or something, but I do kind of like the idea the D clan is the one who, or like they're the ones who maybe can avoid this. But then at the same time, I wouldn't really like the rest of the Straw Hats to get converted, unless we find out the Straw Hats all have D clan blood in them and we just don't know yet, which would be its own great plot point, I feel like. Either way, man, I'm ready to see the super chats. I'm ready. Let's see what you guys are cooking. And sorry I did not get to answer any of these. I see we have quite a few, but thank you guys very much. We're going to get through all of them for sure. Smooth Weeb with the Canadian $5. Not bound by reason nor logic, so Gear 5 is the perfect counter. I like that point. I like that. Could it be that Nika is the first demon ever created? Maybe D-Clan were conscious demons. So I like the D-Clan thing. I genuinely did not read that before, but I feel like, I bet you we're not the only ones who've been saying that, I would imagine, because there's got to be something to stop you from getting controlled, right? Like, it can't be that, like, everyone can do this. And with the D-Clan being called enemies of the gods, and, I mean, maybe it just stands for devil or something, so maybe they're already devils, so, like, converting them into this form doesn't change much, right? I like that, and I like what you're saying about Gear 5 being the perfect counter because of logic and reason, or, like, the lack thereof. And maybe that's part of the reason why, like, if we forget the D-Clan angle to it, like, maybe even Gear 5 in general, it wouldn't work because they're already not, you know, using a lot of logic or reason. They're just, like, fun, you know, loosey-goosey, you know, imaginative, free stuff. And so, like, maybe they're too free to follow any specific command. They're just kind of reacting in general. I would kind of like that. Because also with Bonnie going into Gear 5th, and I know this is definitely controversial, but there's the chance that maybe we'll get more Gear 5th people later on. I don't know if Luffy will be able to, like, expand his awakening, or if it'll be some Forbidden Sun nonsense. I don't even know if I really like it, but I know that's an idea that a lot of people have talked about. And maybe we are literally going to have an entire army of these demon guys by the final war, like whoever Emu's able to take over, versus an entire army of, like, Gear 5th-esque people, so it's light versus dark sort of situation. I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't know. And also, I want to go check one thing I just noticed, but it might be a nothing burger. Let me go back up and look. So, okay, and I don't know if we know this for sure, but if you... So I don't... Here, let me look up a better picture before I say this, before I embarrass myself. Because I noticed something about Dory and Brogy. Okay, so... Unless I'm mistaken... Okay, so it looks like Dory has long hair. Anyway, the reason... what I was going to say was, at the end... It looks like Dory's hair is, like, way longer and on fire, and it looks like some of the other giants have really long flowing hair also. I can't really tell for Brogy. I might have to go back and look. But the reason I say that is a lot of people mentioned how Gunko's hair got longer when Emu controlled her, and they said maybe that's... maybe Emu is a woman with long hair, or, you know, a lot of different theories that come out of that. But it looks like maybe everyone else's hair also changes a little bit. Like, Dory's beard is now, like, definitely longer and, like, flaming. It look not actually on fire, but it looks that way, and his hair in the back is definitely different. And this guy on the right, I don't know his name, but he also looks different. So I'm wondering if whenever you go in this mode, you get a hair upgrade, kind of like a lot of transformations do in Shonen, right? I mean, Gear 5th is a good one, but even like Sulong, for example, or even Hody Jones, like a lot of them, you know, it changed significantly. So I feel like that might be why Gunko's hair changed mainly, which is interesting. I mean, maybe the princess thing is true too, but it feels like that might be where that's going. But all right, back to the super chats. Straw Hat AP with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, my friend. What a time to be a One Piece fan. Completely agreed. Giant demons, eyes being musical notes, has to mean Brook and music can counter Emu. Like D-Stream, y'all. That is a really good thought. And I'm glad you said that, because remember the book that Emu brought out for the weapons? Which that's still... among all the things that happen, I mean, everything's individually crazy, but the book, the book summoning to summon weapons to get a double barrel shotgun to blow off Brogy's hand is like that's not even One Piece. You know what I mean? That is a different story, is what that feels like. So that is crazy. But I want to go back to that book because I agree that the Tot Musica connections have to be spoken of right now, right? Not only the music angle or whatever that you're kind of talking about, but there was like I can't remember the exact situation, but in Top Musica you had like the special thing you could sing, right? It was like a special song you could play to summon Top Musica. It almost reminds me of that a little bit. We also have this like special circle thing. There's just like this dark magic to summon stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They're pulling stuff out of thin air, man. I don't know. I agree. The music has to matter. Like, Oda made Top Musica, and also Top Musica tied to Shanks, and there was also the... Like, Uta looks similar to Gunko, and that, like, their outfits are the same with, like, the long, you know, jacket type thing, and, like, the no pants situation. So there's already a lot of connections, and so I feel like we're definitely tinkering with that. So I hope you're right, that music is the key. And this goes back to something that I said in my Brook video that I know I didn't release, but now I should, you know, be able to definitely dive into that more. I think Emu doing this when they did wasn't a coincidence, because remember how Gunko was remembering Brook, and right when that happened is when Emu jumped in and was like, something about the Dominion of God, whatever it was. I think that timing's really important, and it's like Emu, like, okay, I can't let you remember Brook, because if you get these memories, then you might flip sides, and you might, I don't know, this, that, or the third. But the fact that we're seeing Brook was tied to Gunko being freed, quote unquote, or remembering her true self, whatever you want to call it, I think that is very telling. So I agree with you, Straw Hat AP. You know, music is going to have something to do with this. I don't know what it'll be, but like, I don't know if it'll just be them getting freed, but imagine playing Bink Sake frees these guys. Or maybe you have to drink Bink Sake. I don't know, but that would be... You guys know I'm down for all the Brook hype. Always Sunny in Eddie's Lobby with the $2 super chat. Check out chapter 536, page 5. Also, everyone liked stream. All right, I will do that real quick. 536. Level 5 freezing hell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. Is it... Hold on, wait. Page 5. Let me go just make sure I'm on the right page. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. We're in Impel Down. We're going to the cold part of Impel Down. The Den Mushis won't work. Did you maybe mean page 6 with the wolf with the eyes? Maybe. Let me go back to the chat and see if you have filled in on this, because I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for. I see the wolf with the emu eyes. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that was page 6, which is why I keep going back. Also, the chat froze, so now I can't even see the chat. So give me 1 second to, you know, hop off good old Firefox, because Firefox is not a fan of the agenda here. Okay, now we're back. Now I can see the chat. So Always Sunny, I don't know. Oh, here you go. The guard's talking about people being taken by demons. All right, let me go back and try to reread that. Whenever there's a lot of dialogue, it's hard for me to know, because I'm like, okay, does he mean this page? Should I sit here and read in depth the whole page? Let's see. Okay, I don't see that on page 5. But in front of the prisoners, it's fine, go ahead. From time to time, people have simply disappeared from Impel Down. They clearly didn't escape. Prisoners who never even made a move would vanish without a trace, as if they were taken by demons. Okay, now I see what you're talking. You're cooking. Let me actually pull this panel up for you guys, because it is a crazy one. I'm actually going to take this over to Photoshop real quick and crop this, but Always Sunny, this is a great call out, man. And that panel they show is that is a crazy panel, dude. That is wild. That's why I want to show you guys. Like, that is definitely dead on. Oh, that's the wrong one. Give me like 30 not even 30 seconds, like 15 seconds, and I'll have this for you guys. Sorry for the delay, but you guys need to see this. I imagine a lot of you who read the chapter, you know, earlier this week already know what I'm talking about. I would have to imagine that somebody's been throwing this around. If not, Always Sunny, this is a hell of a catch. Here, let me make it look a little nicer. See, now I'm going too hard. Now I'm trying to make it look acceptable. There we go. All right. And put that in the wrong folder, but who cares? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. But look at this. Look at this. Look, Toei or Shueisha, please. This is too crazy. You can't get me for this. You can't. Don't. Just let me be. Just let this happen. Y'all, look at that panel. All right, so that's Impel Down. That's right before they go into the cold area of Impel Down, level 5. And also right after this, we see a wolf with emu eyes, which I know Always Sunny, that's not what you were talking about. But now I'm starting to think, whenever we went to the Realm of the Dead and met Loki, there was that big wolf, and we see emu eyes there, and it's right after this demon thing. I got a lot of thoughts on that. Also, Shamrock having Cerberus at his disposal. There's all sorts of things we could maybe make connections to. But this is crazy, man. This is actually very wild that this was back in Impel Down, with obviously all its connections to hell already. And so maybe some of the prisoners have been taken and just turned into, you would think we would have seen them by now. So does Emu have like a giant squadron of like, you know, frozen giants somewhere? Which that's another thing. Didn't we see frozen giants in like, was it like Punk Hazard or something? But like, is Emu keeping a bunch of people like this ready to go, you know, to just throw out there into the ether for battle whenever needed? I don't know, man. I'm gonna hide the panel now so Shueisha leaves me alone. But Always Sunny, that was absolutely insane. That was what a catch. What a catch. David Cott with the €5. Trauma for how Naruto / Game of Thrones ended coming back. I don't know how I feel about this chapter. Seems like a very literal and childish way to portray good versus evil. You know, it's interesting because in some ways I definitely get what you're saying, but it's so early that I think I'd want to get a little more unearthed of it. But I do agree. It's like, it's very forward with like, all right, so we finally met Emu, and now everyone's turning into a demon all of a sudden, you know, and is really strong. And even people who are good are like easily flipped over. So it's kind of like, I kind of get what you're saying. It's a little worrisome, but I feel like we gotta see this through, because I feel like we don't really know how the powers work. Like, is this costing Emu a lot of like energy, or, you know, built up lifespans or something? Like, maybe this comes at a cost, and so maybe this is like, you know, like Emu's thinking, if I don't go get Elbaf right now, we're gonna lose. And if that's the case, maybe there's a better way to explain this where it's not I don't know, not as simple, because not that this is that simple, but just being able to turn good people evil that quickly, I could see being a little iffy, you know, like that. Like if the Straw Hats get turned evil, that's gonna feel really weird, and so I can see a little bit of concern in general with what's going on. You know, if all the good people that we've met just easily get turned evil, and then it just becomes a thing of like getting through to them, maybe that could feel a little anticlimactic, a little bit. But for now, I mean, personally, I'm super hyped about this. You know, I like I said, I want to learn more, because I also don't really like how, I don't know if I don't like it, but the fact that Brogy was turned into a demon without like agreeing, or even like being tricked into agreeing, it's kind of, you know, I don't know. Emu could have been doing this forever, right? To all sorts of people. Like, Brogy's not a weak guy. And so, like, could Emu have done this to Roger and turned him into a demon? Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking. So I want to learn more about it before I judge it too much, but I get your concern for sure. Like, if this continues as it is, I can see it. But for now, it's mind-blowing for me. So we'll see. We'll see. I definitely get where you're coming from. Good Vibrations with the $5 super chat. Actually, 2 of them back to back. And by the way, thanks for the warning earlier, Good Vibes. I got a lot of people. Or wait, you only did one, but I got the same super chat twice. So hopefully it only charged you once. But thanks for the warning earlier about the spoilers. I got a few of those, but thank you. Doi Reversy means return home in Latin. I know there's an editor's note. Also, the book is giving Crollo vibes from Hunter x Hunter if you want to check his power out. I did watch Hunter x Hunter. I'll have to go refresh my mind on him. What he looks like comes to mind. I just don't remember his power system at all. So I'll have to go back and look at that. It'll probably come to me. You know what? Maybe I should just look it up. But return home. So that would mean that Emu is probably from the underworld, right? Or from... I assume that's the underworld, wherever that is. And so return home. So that means Emu was originally there, and Emu's sending them back. And then the question becomes, well, how did Emu get up here in the first place? And I would imagine that would be from a similar situation to Brooks' time skip. Like, there was probably a group of people, maybe the 20 Kings, maybe the Gorosei, I don't really know. But some group probably wanted to summon a demon from there, and maybe they actually got enough sacrifices for it, and now Emu is able to do this willy-nilly. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of loosey-goosey answers there, but and there's also the thing where, like, Nerona Emu isn't like, they're from this world, or they existed as a king back then, like they were a known entity. And so it would also hint that, you know, Emu got controlled by something. And so maybe that Nerona Emu was the first one to do it, and they, like, offered their own life up for it. I don't know, man. I'm definitely going to release a video on this, too. And so, wait, there's no break next week, right? Is that true? Because if there's no break, that's killer. Because, like, I mean, it's good. Because we want the next chapter. But if there is no break, that makes it a lot harder to get a video done. Like, Oda, this is the time you can take a break, my guy. Like, this is the perfect time. You know what I mean? Like, this... Let us breathe. Let us soak this in a little bit. Let us creators get a video out. But it looks like it's not happening this week. So I'll have to rush one out. But I got to do something on this. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with the £2 super chat. Chapter 633 cover page. You won't be disappointed. All right, let me go check this one out too. I gotta get a video out on this, and like I want to do the Brook backstory too, but I feel like those got to be separate videos now. And I'm like, should I just release the Brook back? Maybe I should save that one now that we went away from it. See, these are the things that I gotta think as a creator that you guys probably don't ever think of. But I only got a couple days to do it. I probably can only pick so many topics. Oh wow, that's cool. Friend or foe, and they're still fighting each other, but in the post time skip. Is that the cover page? That is very cool. And they're actually just punching each other because they lost their weapons, which is cool. Did they have a? Oh, there was no. I thought there was going to be like a it's Doi and Brogy fighting, by the way. Whenever I look at it, I'm like, okay, everyone can see the same thing I'm seeing. You guys definitely can't. It's Doi and Brogy still fighting each other. They like just punched each other, and I was thinking there was going to be like a little blurb, like, you know how a lot of the cover pages have like a little saying. This one doesn't have it, at least that I'm looking at, which feels weird. But yeah, that's very interesting. I feel like feel free to send me any hype stuff that I maybe have missed from the prior chapters that tie to this, because like you guys have already sent me a couple, and I actually have a bunch of DMs also, so I'm excited to go look at those. I know there's some of you who wait for me to react, and then as soon as I'm done, I get a bunch of messages, which I love. I also get emails. Shout out to Largo, by the way. He emails me all the time, and he always has some great theories, so thank you. He's definitely the most consistent emailer for sure. So shout out Largo. Shout out everyone who sends me messages, but and also Vlad. Actually, Vlad, you sent me some good stuff in DM too recently, so thank you very much. Tosmorn with a $2 super chat twice in a row. Thank you very much, Tosmorn. I viewed it as coding or painting with demon energy. So it reminds me of Miss Golden Week. Like how Achilles was dipped in the pool. So I really like that, because it goes back to the Miss Golden Week thing. Which, remember, Miss Golden Week was on Little Garden, you know, where we met Doi and Brogy. Now we see Doi and Brogy being the first two to be possessed. I feel like that's something whatever video I do, you can bank on Miss Golden Week getting talked about, because that's my girl. I've mentioned her a million times. I feel like she's gonna matter again. But maybe what it is yeah, like they're hypnotized almost. Like they're more than hypnotized, because they have transformed. they are no longer the same thing. But I feel like if maybe there's a mark on them, you know, the mark of the abyss that we were told about, I think they might have a mark on them that needs to be wiped off, and then maybe they'll come back to the other side. And I don't know if they would keep the power up. It would be a little weird if they did, because then I feel like they'd be kind of OP. But I really like the coding or painting with demon energy thing, because it's Miss Golden Week on steroids, which I'm fully in support of. So I like that. And you said how Achilles was dipped in the pool. Can you maybe give me a little more insight into that? Because I'm not as deep into mythology as a lot of people. So I mean, I know who Achilles was. I don't remember that specific situation. So if you want to let me know, please do, because I am very curious. There's probably a lot of mythology based around what's going on here, like a lot of examples, and so I definitely want to hear those. Also, shout out to the few people who subscribed during the stream. I don't know if you're actually here, because I know I have the chat is subscribe only, so I don't get spoiled. So I don't know if you just did it for that, or if you're on a different video, but shout out everyone who did join, or who did subscribe. Scopper Gabon super chatted $5. Scopper. All right, so hold on. For one thing, Scopper, are you okay? Are you all right down there, man? That I need to know. Are you all right? Chopper's coming. All right. If you're not feeling good, Chopper's coming. He's a reindeer, so he can run pretty fast. I don't know how fast. I don't know if it's fast enough, but hopefully you're all right, man. But Luffy, God of Freedom, and Joy Black. And Luffy, God of Freedom and Joy, Blackbeard, God of Destruction and Chaos, Emu, God of Order and Control. That I like that, but I guess is there. So I remember that panel when they said that that Nika was the bringer of destruction or the bringer of liberation, right? I can't remember exactly what they said, but is that what you're tying to? Did they mention order and control as well, or something like that? Because it is interesting that that they broke that down. I'm just trying to go find that panel, but I like what you're saying. Now I think the God of Freedom, God of Destruction and Chaos, God of Order and Control. Yeah, I like it. Now, I guess I'm thinking also about the gods of Skypiea, right? Because obviously Luffy would be the sun god, and then would those other two maybe thematically tie? Like, would rain, earth, or forest maybe tie to destruction or chaos or order and control? That's my next thought. Like, do they some of those apply? Because we also, since we had 4, that might hint there's a 4th one as well, which I don't even know what that would be. But I dig what you're saying. I can't find that panel about the Nika breakdown. I don't even know what you call that. I can't remember. I think, was that right before the mural? I'm gonna go back and look. One more chance. If I don't find it here, then I'm gonna give up. All right, I can't find it. Whatever it is, but I know I like what you're cooking, Scopper. And honestly, Scopper, you've been the Laugh Tale, so you know the whole future of the world. So like I'd be wrong to even debate you on this. You know all the truths of history. So yeah, you're probably cooking. John Stoops, member for 13 months. John, thank you very much. Stopping in to say hi. Can't stay at work. Fire chapter. John, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for doing that. And it really means a lot, even if you can't stay. You just popped in to make sure you use the member message. So seriously, thank you. It was a fire chapter, man. It genuinely the craziest one I think I've read. Smooth Weeb, Canadian $5. Maybe the D's were turned demons without specific instructions to bound them to the power, like Toy Kiros, who wasn't physically obliged to obey Sugar. That's interesting. Now, I guess my little thought there is, like, because they also transform, you know what I mean? They turn into these demon things. I mean, maybe they were originally demons, like the D Clan, and then they just, I don't know, maybe they had kids and like the traits got diluted over time or something. Or maybe if they weren't given orders, maybe they like lost the transformation. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of stuck on that part because I'm just like, where are the wings at? But, we've seen actually earlier this arc, we heard about like races having their traits diluted, or not diluted necessarily, but that there's a lot of mixed races in the world. And we know from other examples that those traits can get diluted. Like Chimney is probably the quintessential example, because she's 1/4 fishman and she's still good at swimming, but she doesn't look like a fishman at all. So like we know the traits get diluted. So maybe it is that like way back then there was this group of D-Clan people who got turned into demons, but maybe it's a Toy Kiro situation, or maybe they just got really lucky and somehow had the mark wiped off, assuming the mark is still a factor. Whatever it is. Yeah, maybe they got freed and then left, and now they have a lot of those powers, or / can't be converted to Emu's control anymore because they've already been converted, but without an order, so now it's like already set in stone, maybe. And so now maybe they're destined to like get strong enough to stop these guys. I don't really like... Or maybe what the idea is, like, the control is part of it, I would imagine. But if the D-Clan matters, we're making a lot of assumptions, but if the D-Clan really ties to this stuff, it could also be that maybe the D-Clan can go back to wherever that portal leads, like into the abyss, into the underworld, wherever that place is. Maybe they can go in there and, like, come back and be normal. Like, maybe that's the idea. Like, they're allowed to visit. And that might be part of it, because maybe you have to go in there to actually beat Emu. And so only D-Clan members could, because anyone else who goes in there gets converted. I don't know, something like that. We're going to be spitting a lot of theories about this for a while. So yeah, I like the Kyros idea. My only maybe issue with it is that since like it couldn't be done the exact same way. Like it would have to be done in a way that felt new. Like the same idea, yes, but I don't think it could just be that like Emu forgot, because that would look bad on Emu. And like I said, it's already been done, so we would need maybe a little bit of difference. But regardless, I like what you're saying, and I do not have my water with me, and it is now causing problems, because whenever I talk a lot, my voice definitely gets a little raspy. But we're good. Tosmorn V Hall of Flames with the $10 super chat. Idun is the Norse. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Idun, maybe, whatever it is. Idun is the Norse goddess for youth and the gods' immortality, mead, and apples. Pronounced Edithune. I'm glad you're saying that, because I literally had no idea. Edithune. Older versions of Pan-Indo-European immortality / life-granting goddesses can be pronounced as Emun. Okay, so I see what you're saying. It's close to Emu. That is interesting. Norse goddess for youth and god's immortality, mead, and apples. And so it's funny you mentioned those three things, because the immortality, we can already see how that ties to Emu. Mead, that would be, that's alcohol, stand-in for sake, I guess, in this case, right? Or whatever. And that's obviously very important to One Piece, very important to Brook, so there's a connection there. And then the apples, that's another important thing that ties to what we're talking about, because we have the Eve tree, and we know that the Eve tree, or not the Eve tree, but Adam and Eve, in Christian, mythology or the creation story, whatever you want to call it, they ate the forbidden fruit, which is usually depicted as an apple. And with that with Emu being near the Eve tree, we have a connection there as well. So I actually like what you're saying the more I think about it, because all three of those things could easily tie to Emu, or at least the big thematic parts of the story that could rope in. So I really like that. I'm gonna look into that more, because if the name is really that close too, then that should really be something. And that would also explain why Emu is doing this here in Elbaf, right? Because I did that video like a month and a half ago, whenever it was, on Redacted, about who's going to show up to Elbaf. And I think I mentioned this last week, but, we talked about Emu as like a half-joking answer. Like, not joking, but we're like, it's probably not going to happen, but let's talk about it just in case. And now it literally did. And so there probably are a lot of, mythological, reasons for this in terms of Norse mythology. And I know you're the Norse guy, so give me all your theories, man. For real. All of them. Debus, Canadian $7 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. Emu summons weapons like Shupial the Clown in the Romance Dawn one-shot. Nerona Buggy still on the table. I don't remember him at all. Let me go look this up real quick. I probably butchered the name. I'm butchering a lot of names today. That's a theme. Oh my god, this guy. Okay, just for anybody who doesn't know, I'm just gonna show you a picture, because I mean, if you know what he looks like, you already know why I have to show you guys a picture. If you guys have never seen this man, all right, of course it's a WebP file. It's always a WebP file, man. Where are you getting saved to? Shupial O'Neal. Where are you at? All right, hold on. All right, here's Shupial. Oh, come, bro. No. And now I gotta go. I don't know why Streamlabs is not a fan of any file type that is not a JPEG, but let's see, discussion. Okay, here we go. Now you guys know why I had to show you what he looks like, if you didn't know. This guy, as soon as I saw him, I remembered exactly what you were talking about. This guy is crazy. Like, this is one of Oda's wildest designs, and he did it at the very beginning. Which, like, listen, if Emu looks like this, I wouldn't be that surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, just look at him. That could easily be Emu, guys. And then maybe Emu's like 3 points on his head, or like, like that hair, but just in a different style, like pointed upwards. I don't know. This guy's wild. But anyway, sorry. What was the super chat now? Emu summons weapons like this guy. in the Romance Dawn one-shot. I don't remember what his powers are at all, so let me go down there. Shupil has the ability to use magic, allowing him to ride on a flying broomstick, set people ablaze or lift them with telekinesis, summon weapons, and control water to sink his own ship. This gives him an advantage over non-magic users, but most of it was useless against Luffy's rubber powers. Shupil also carries a broomstick that he flies on and summoned a hammer from thin air to strike his opponents. Magic aside, he also wields 2 flintlocks. All right, you might be cooking there, man. You actually, you know what? It's not a might, it's a you are cooking. Oh, and in the English, in the dub, his voice actor is Ian Sinclair, which is Brooke's voice actor, which only adds to the mystique of this man. He also appeared in episode 907. Is this a filler? Okay, it's a Romance Dawn filler thing. Okay, I was about to say, like, this man in 907, you guys know Emu was introduced, like, a few episodes before that, too, right? So, Deebus, you're actually cooking. I actually might have to mention this guy in a video. I might actually have to. Also, I just went and looked at my DMs, and Kush, I saw you sent me one of your super chats. The earliest one I have is Smooth Weeb, so if somebody wants to, like, send me all the super chats, I'll get to the earlier ones, because I don't have them. So I guess I can try going to, well, I can't get the member messages. I don't have them on my end, so I can't see them. Let me scroll back and see if I can find them now. Okay, I found a couple of them. Please let me know if I'm missing any more, because I think I'm missing like 5. Sorry, I want to make sure I go back and get these. The next one I gotta read. Just gonna say this so I don't forget. Straw Hat AP, you're the next one I gotta read, but I gotta go back. Kush Daddy, you were the first one. I don't even know how to pronounce this first song you said. Hold on, wait. Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. I gotta do this. You asked about 2 Kid Rock songs, and I don't know how to pronounce the first one. What is it? Bodit Ba? Is that how you say that? Bodit Ba? Something like that? I don't know if I'm probably butchering that name. Let me get a quick sample. I probably know the song, I just don't know the name. Also, let me get whatever I said this guy's name was, Shaquille O'Neal, off my screen. All right, you guys can't hear this, right? Okay, good. Oh, I know. Okay, yep, I know this song. I've never heard the name Daba. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say it, but I'm gonna listen to the other one, even though I know the other one. I'm gonna listen to it just in case, but I'm probably going that. Well, All Summer Long. So the question was All Summer Long by Kid Rock or Ba by Kid Rock. I don't know if I'm saying again. I'm butchering that name, but I think I gotta go All Summer Long. That's a tough one, but I think I got to go All Summer Long. It's just too iconic. Not that the other one's not, right? The other one is also iconic. But it wasn't iconic enough for me to know the name, so I got to go All Summer Long, because that is a literal quintessential, just radio song in general. Lonely Mage with the $10 super chat. Sorry I missed this one. And also Quanidin, Knack Reacts, and Tosmorn. I will get to all yours, but Lonely Mage. If you went to Hogwarts, what house would you be? I'm Ravenclaw, by the way. See, this one I also gotta look out. I literally was watching listening to a podcast the other day, and people had this debate with each other, and they went through what each house meant, and I had the thought process of which one I would join. This was literally last week, and I'm not a Harry Potter guy, so this is completely serendipitous, but I don't remember, so now I gotta look it up again. So Gryffindor is courage, bravery, nerve, chivalry. Hufflepuff, hard work, dedication. loyalty, justice. Ravenclaw is intelligence, wisdom, wit. Slytherin, ambition, cunning, leadership, resourcefulness. I know the shady people go to Slytherin, right? Isn't that what happens? Like, I don't want to be basic and say Gryffindor, but I feel like that's what I would pick if I had my choice, which I know the hat does it for you, right? But you know what? You know what? See, I want to watch. I gotta go back and watch the movies because I'd probably pick this more based off the people I vibe with, because all these values I feel like are good. But I think I would. You know what? No, I do Gryffindor. Screw it. I'll be basic. I'll do Gryffindor. I like some stuff from Hufflepuff. I like some stuff with Ravenclaw, but I feel like I can take the good parts of Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff and do that in Gryffindor and put it to better use. So I'm gonna go Gryffindor. But that was a good thought exercise, honestly. And by the way, they make Slytherin sound super appealing, but I know that some of the sketchy people go there, so I don't think I'm gonna do that one, but they do make it seem appealing. Quanidin with the $2 super chat. Sorry I missed this one earlier. And it's funny, whenever I started, I was literally like, wow, there's no Quanidin message. Or I usually have a Quanidin chapter rating early at the start, and I didn't have one. And so I should have known that something was amiss at the start. So again, sorry I missed these, but you said 12 out of 10 chapter, in my opinion, even with being spoiled. Well, that's peak. If it's over 10 and you even got spoiled. But I'm sorry you got spoiled. Like I said, during the middle of it, I feel like a lot of you probably got spoiled on the emu demon time thing, the devil floating in air image. I feel like people gotta be making thumbnails with that. So if that's the case, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry on behalf of the One Piece creator community. I try to do my best to never spoil people, which, you know, maybe sometimes I get a little close. I don't do it before the official releases, that's for sure. But I do have debates like, okay, is it long enough for me to put this on a thumbnail? But I never try to do it too quick. And so I will apologize on behalf of us creators that we are spoiling you, because we should not be doing that. And there's not a lot I can do to stop them, but it's it's definitely, most of us do not do that. So I'm sorry. And also, and if it's not a creator and it's just Reddit or something, I apologize on behalf of those people too, because man, I have started to have to not look at Reddit during the week, because normally they're really good about not doing spoilers on Reddit, but lately, man, they stuff in the title is getting way too close. Like, even if it doesn't outright spoil and they have the spoiler tag, it might be like, oh, I think I just figured out Emu's powers, chapter 1150 spoilers. And I'm like, okay, that's not that, is that a spoiler? Maybe people can probably argue both ways, but I'm like, the fact, if you're telling me that within chapter 1150 there's enough information to get Emu's powers, that's kind of a spoiler in and of itself. And some have gone through without the spoiler tag, so you can see the first image or the first couple sentences, and that's bonkers. I don't know how that gets through. So I guess all I'm saying is I apologize on behalf of everybody. I try not to do it, and I feel like I do a good job, but other people, we're definitely guilty as charged, a lot of us. But hopefully it stops, man. Because whenever we get to the One Piece, if somebody puts the One Piece on a thumbnail and says, oh, the One Piece has been revealed and it's before the official, that person should just get, I don't even know what to say. They shouldn't get, personally injured, physically, but they should get an enormous amount of backlash. I hope Shueisha goes after those people hard if that happens, because that's too much. So yeah, I'm sorry. Knack reacts with the Canadian 279. Stop the censorship. JK liked the stream. Knack, I appreciate you, brother, and I'm sorry that I missed that one as well. It's I feel so bad because there's also a couple member messages I missed. So anyway, I'll get to those. Thank you, mods, for letting me know. Tosmore, did you send me a message, Knack? You did. You sent me. You know what? Let's look at those right now, Knack. Oh, you sent me all the chats I missed. You got Knack, my God. And I think some of you guys, who else did? Okay, Always Sunny, you sent me some other stuff. I'll look at that later. Vex, Goat Mod, Knack, Goat Mod. I mean, all the mods are goated. Let's be real. We're not ranking them, but you guys did send me those, so I appreciate that. Also, good vibrations. You messaged me and said, did you not see the 10 gifted subs earlier either? Good vibes. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Seriously. Okay, now I can... I think between all the pictures I have, I think I have the full scope of what's going on. So, let me go through. So, Knack, what else did you do here? You also gifted 5 memberships, Knack. You did that right after I gifted the YouTube ones. So, thank you very much, Knack. You're the GOAT for that. Seriously, thank you. Good vibes. I just saw your 10 gifted memberships. Thank you seriously so much, y'all. That it's so wild because, like I said, whenever I started, I was like, man, where are the regulars? Like, it's like, and again, I'm completely okay if you guys don't donate a single dollar to me. Yeah, I'm happy you guys are here. This is just fun to talk about the chapter, and obviously I appreciate and very much enjoy getting donations, but you don't have to. But I was thinking like, the regulars aren't here for this chapter, like. If this was a regular chapter, if this was like an in-between Egghead and Elbaf chapter, all right, like, I get maybe not being that hyped. But I was like, of all the ones, I was expecting y'all to pull up, so I should have known better. I should have definitely known better. So thank you, everyone who donated memberships. I think I got all those. And then I see somebody said, oh, it's Adam Tree. Okay, Adam Tree, you're the one I couldn't see. Member for 15 months. I think you were the first one. Go to chapter. Let's turn this world upside down. And you know what's so cool, man? It's actually kind of cool that I saw that one later, because like, you wouldn't have spoiled me by saying that, but now that I've read the chapter, I can come back to this and be like, oh, were you talking about Dory or Brogy getting flipped upside down in the circle? Like, was that a little foreshadow? And that is a great cheeky, non-spoilering foreshadow, if that's what you meant. And if you weren't being cheeky and you just meant the Roger Rayleigh version, that would be good on its own. But now it's a double entendre at this point. So that's awesome, Adam Tree. Thank you very much. And then Lonely Mage, I also saw this one. Member for 30 months. Thou shall enjoy this chapter, Dak. Another cheeky, non-spoiler foreshadow. Y'all, hey, it was meant to be that I got these later. That's actually hilarious, both of you. And it's like, you guys, I don't know if Lonely Mage saw Adam Trees and thought of his own cheeky thing, or if you guys both thought of that ahead of time, but hey, that's awesome. Honestly, guys, that is so cool. That's pretty funny. And Ark, I already mentioned Knack's donation. I think I got them all. Okay, cool. If I missed any more, someone let me know. But I think I caught all the ones that I missed. So now I can get caught back up to... was it... Oh, wait, no, Tosmorn, you had one more. Sorry, I missed that one. Tosmorn, you said... sorry I'm late. Also, V-Hall is pronounced like Vol. Okay, got you. Because I always say V-Hall. But, the fact you don't capitalize the H in Hall should have given me a hint that it's just one Vol. So, okay, got you. Vol, I will remember that. Thank you. You guys know I like to pronounce things correctly, even if I don't do it regularly. So, so appreciate it. Now we're back to the actual, or not, well, they're all super chats. Now we're back to the current super chats. We're going in order. I said Tosmorns. I said Debus. Right? Yep, we talked about Shaquille O'Neal. And then D-Cutch. There we go. Super chatted $2. Now we're on to the next one. Reversy, a game in which you can flip or steal pieces. Now, hold on. I'm going to look this game up because I want to see if it's similar to another game I just thought of. But you just actually triggered... Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, wait. What's the... Oh, I gotta look this up real quick. What's that game called? Go. Okay, you guys remember the name Go? Oh, yeah. Okay, so remember in Wano, Cypherpole was playing Go, or Reversy seems to be pretty much the same thing. I think Go is just what they call it in Japan. I'm not familiar enough, but they look like the exact same game. You have black or white pieces, and you're trying to take over the other pieces. And the fact that was played during Wano, where obviously Luffy, went into Gear 5 the first time, and it's Cypherpole doing that, who ties to the government, that is actually really important. Oh, that is a really big point, D-Cutch. That is huge. Because the fact it's black and white pieces, and now we're seeing, all these demons are coming out with, they're covered in I assume I'm sure they got black wings, they got black horns. You know, they're more styled black. Where you know, Luffy in Gear 5 is more styled white, so we have that difference. Also, Sulong styled white. The energy steroids at Fishman Island made you turn all white, which, you know, they're protected by the fishmen who were friends with Joy Boy, so there's that connection. So all these good guys transform into white, and the bad guys seem to have transformations that turn into black. And so the fact that Go is about basically converting your whole board into the one color, right? Like if you're the white side, you're trying to turn all the black pieces into white and vice versa. Oh, man. Yeah. That's going to be big. I'm talking about that in this video that I'm doing. I don't know what the video will say, and I don't know what the thumbnail will be, because I do not want to make it too spoilery, but it will come out after the official anyway, so it'll be slightly more acceptable, but I gotta think about that, because I do not want to spoil people, but I also got to make it hype at the same time, so we'll see what I do there. Maybe I'll just make it a black background with just emu eyes, and I don't even know. I'll make it just something really basic. I don't know, but that's huge. I feel like D-Kutch. That is huge. Denja D. Ara, super chatted $5. Brook can appeal directly to souls through music or underworld association. Soul King versus Demon Possession. Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because this is probably a good time to remind people. Remember in Whole Cake, whenever Brook was able to free the chest keeper's souls with just his music? Well, I'm wondering. Let me go back and reread what Emu / Gunko / Gunkmoo, whatever you want to call this person. Probably just Emu, but they said something that reminded me of that. It said something about give me your lifespan, right? Thou shalt cast aside thy lifespan for a body unyielding to death. So I think I mentioned this earlier. That reminds me a lot of, you know, Mother Carmel / Big Mom, because they take people's lifespans and then give that lifespan to homies who are they, like, do they have a body unyielding to death? Kind of. Like they probably don't die in the regular way, but like, you know, like we saw Zeus could be eaten by Hera or whatever, or Brook can free the souls. Like there are ways to kill them, but they probably don't age like a normal human being or a normal living creature would. They probably live as long as the lifespan is. Like if you put 3 months of lifespan into them, maybe they live for 3 months, or maybe if it's 3 months of human lifespan, maybe that's like 3 years of like a really weak object's lifespan. Like, I don't know, if you gave it to like a random broom or something, or like a rake, like maybe those would get to live longer because like they're, you know, not as strong or whatever. I don't know. But that connection I feel like is pretty important, because going back to Brook, what you're talking about, you know, appealing directly to souls through music or underworld association, it does make me think that like music will be the key in freeing these guys. Or maybe not freeing, but maybe you play the music and that kind of gets them to start, you know, double thinking or questioning what they're talking about. I'm trying to think of something from Brooks that Brook mentioned. Oh yeah, during Fishman Island, Brook mentioned how he had a special like substance. I forget exactly the word he used. Special energy. I think he said special energy. Ectoplasm, I can't remember, but he said he has something that lets him stay on this plane. It's not like a normal, you know, it's not hockey, it's also not music, it's like something probably from his devil fruit, but there's something that lets him stay on this plane. And so between the music part of it and Brook having this special, you know, or at least knowing about this special thing that lets dead people exist here, he's got to have the secret to freeing them, or at least knowing like, oh, they must have undergone this, or I don't know, something, right? And it's crazy because like I love Brook and I'm ready for Brook to just, you know, unleash everything he knows and to have all the secrets. Like you won't hear any complaints from me. But that is a lot of emphasis on one Straw Hat, right? And for that Straw Hat to not be Luffy, I feel like is pretty it's pretty interesting, I guess. Like, if Brook really does have secrets to beating these demons or freeing controlled souls or bringing demons back, like however we want to phrase it, like that is so incredibly important. Like no disrespect to Nami or to any other Straw Hat, but like Nami's really good with the weather, and is that important? Absolutely. Is it powerful? Absolutely. Are there a lot of cool moments that Oda has built out of it? Absolutely. You know, I love it. No complaints with that. But being good at the weather is one thing. Having knowledge or power revolving soul control or the underworld is like a completely different can of worms. Or like Frankie, who can build high-tech stuff. Is that important? Yes. Is it amazing that he was able to rebuild his body after he almost died? Yes. But underworld demonic stuff, that's just that is a whole different world. So I'm excited to see what happens here with Brook. Tosmorn, Vol of Flames. And by the way, Tosmorn, it makes a lot more sense that it's Vol, because now it's Ball of, like, you know, I assume that's what you're going for, Ball of Flames, but it's Vol. Anyways, $2 super chat. Florian Triangle Giants. Now, are you saying that maybe those monsters are like demons that Emu has created? Is that what you're implying? Or because I still think Emu could just be those monsters, especially now that we see Emu is able to like suddenly transport into somebody's body. We already know that, you know, they can teleport all over the world and stuff. So I feel like, you know, there's definitely a chance that it could be Emu. But are you implying that maybe those Florian Triangle things are just like giants like this that were controlled? Or, and honestly, if they are giants like this that maybe Emu is controlling, that might make sense in the context of Ors as well, because I mean, Ors is obviously an ancient giant, so he has horns like these ones do. He was called a demon. A lot of other parallels you could make between Thriller Bark and Elbaf right now. So there's maybe that angle of it. Like maybe Ors, it could almost be that, like, what if Ors back then was a giant who got controlled like this? And so maybe the giants that popped up at Florian Triangle were like more Orses, but not like the original Ors, but just other giants that are maybe similar to that. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious what you think. Also, I just popped over to the regular chat real quick. I saw Saint Constantine. You said, "Nah, man, missed the stream. What a chapter, though. Incredible chapter." We're going to be talking for a minute. I do need to get out of here in about 25 minutes or so, so I'm going to try speeding through the rest of these. Also, wait, King Recon. I just saw this one. Coach King Recon with the $5 super chat with the all caps peak. Wait, my guy King Recon was here and I didn't notice. Coach, we might have to talk, my friend. And by talk, I mean we might have to literally get on a call and talk, and then post the talk on a channel called Redacted because I need to talk to somebody about this. It has to happen. Maybe we'll even do it tonight and just get it over with. Maybe we'll do that to start getting my brain working for the next video. So, Coach, I don't know if you're here, but I would love to talk to you, my friend, because I don't know. We might have to assemble the One Piece Avengers to discuss this, because this is absolutely insane. So, anyways, let me go back down to where I was. Oh my gosh. Got a lot of super chats to get through. I'm going to go kind of quick, guys, so I apologize if I'm not giving the normal length of answer, but my friend is going to be waiting for me. I have to, in like 30 minutes, I have to be out of the house, and my friend's going to be waiting for me, so I'm just want to make sure I get through them, so I'm going to go kind of quick, so I apologize, but I am going to answer all of them, trust me. That will happen. If my friend has to wait for me to get to the last couple, he will. Matt, if you're listening, you're probably not, but if you were, you would understand. So anyways, Straw Hat AP with the $2 super chat. Enel's Automata plus Doi Reversy. That would be crazy. And I'm glad you brought up the Automata, because literally before this stream, or like just in general the last few days, I've been thinking about the parallel between Enel and his Automata and Emu and maybe controlling everybody, because the Automata are like obviously these autonomous robot things that seem to just listen to Enel. Like Enel powered them up. Enel gave them life, you could say, and they're like, okay, we'll listen to you. And it's kind of a similar thing here, except obviously the Giants were alive before, but Emu gave the demon version of them life. And so, you know, it's obviously they're far from automata. They're not even close to the same thing. But I think there are some potential connections there, also including how, you know, Nell was called God, and a lot of his parallels to Emu that he already had. There could be something there. So I'm actually really glad you brought that up. Lorthic, I think, is that an I or an L? I want to say Lorthic. Super chat to $5. My bro thinks a love power will counter the demon ability. Pointed to Emu stopping Gunko getting to Brook, kids being kept asleep, can't show love, etc. I like the love idea, and actually you brought up a couple points I haven't really thought of. So the Emu stopping Gunko getting to Brook, that to me, in my Brook video that is unreleased, I literally start by saying essentially, this is going to be one of the most consequential backstories in One Piece, because you don't see too many flashbacks start where Emu interrupts it. Like, that tells you right there that even if the info of the flashback isn't important, it's the fact that Gunko is remembering the flashback that's important. And so you could read that in terms of just Emu doesn't want to lose Gunko, but you could also read it as like Oda is telling us, like, hey, I showed you a glimpse and then stopped it, so you should know that if Emu is stopping it, that's a big deal. So I'm actually really glad you brought that up. And the kids being kept asleep, can't show love part's interesting too, because I think Summers and it was mainly Summers. I don't know if the other Gods Knights did it or not, but Summers was talking about how, like, oh, the parents will come and hug their kids and they'll get stabbed and they'll start bleeding, and then the kids will wake up and see their parents hurt and blah blah blah. And so, like, he was trying to stop them from being able to love each other normally. So there is maybe some evidence there, but some of the best evidence, I think, is that, like, Scopper said he was the minister of love, and we heard from Egghead, remember when Sanji talked about love, and Kizaru was like, well, we'll have to rewrite the physics books. There's been a lot of focus on love, and also Kuma obviously loved Bonnie, and even though he was supposed to be dead, he still made it. So I think love is a really good answer, too. The only issue with love that I have is, like, it's just, how does that manifest? Like, is that just a new hockey variety? Is that just a... like, where does that power come from? Like, is it just a mental thing? Like, it would feel kind of weird if the only way it works is like, hey, Gunko, I love you, and so now I can hurt you. Like I don't think Scopper loves Summers, so there would have to be some other spin on it. But I definitely think they're onto something. I did a video on Redacted about biofeedback, which the answer, we have not gotten an answer yet, so I guess that video still stands. I think it's a pretty good answer, but I talked about biofeedback over there, and because we're pressed for time, I'll leave that video, to discuss that. But honestly, I think love could even tie to biofeedback a little bit in certain ways, depending on how biofeedback works. Because Semi-Kikon's like controlling your bodily processes directly, and I think biofeedback's tied to that. And so maybe there's a love angle there. I don't know if you could. There's a few different ways I could maybe spin it, but I feel like I said I was going to go fast, and I feel like I'm not going fast, so I'm going to try not taking too much more time. But yeah, I think there is a good chance that'll be a factor in some way. Tosmorn, Vol the Flames with the $2. Emu's Abyss ability allows them to create devils. And so do you think that the ability will let Emu not just turn people into demonic versions of themselves, but also literally create new ones? Because that's kind of what Killingham did. Like, he used a dream, but he did create, like, devils or nightmares, monsters, mythological creatures, whatever, out of thin air. And then we also saw Emu, with that book, what is that book, by the way? That book is maybe the biggest mystery to me of all. Because if Emu just, like, pop the weapons out of thin air, I'd be like, whatever, I guess Emu can do whatever they want. But the fact a book came out, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't have an answer for that. So yeah, I guess I guess I'm curious if you think Emu can create literal, like, living devils. Because, like, with the book that popped out of thin air, that's all inanimate, but the actual living devils were, like, living people, turned over into them. So I guess I'm curious what you think about that. But good vibes with the $5 super chat. Maybe when Doi Reversy is used, a sacrifice is required. Maybe that's why Impel doesn't execute a lot of prisoners, just puts them down to be forgotten. You're cooking. You're 100% cooking. And I would also throw in God Valley could be a similar thing. Remember, they added points to the people that they were assassinating, essentially, right? They literally made it, like, tried to incentivize these God's Knights to go kill more and more people. They literally gave them a prize to whoever gets the most points. So they're all going to go out there and go kill everybody. And so I think you could reason the same thing, that they want to use those people for some reason. Maybe whenever they kill them, they collect the lifespan. You know, there's a lot of different ways that could maybe work. But what you're saying could also tie in because of what always Sunny Nay's Lobby said earlier with the demons, you know, disappearing people or whatever. Maybe they are just using that as just a base to like build up this lifespan or whatever that they need to use these powers. Because I do think there needs to be a catch somewhere. Like maybe it's that Emu, kind of like we're saying, Emu needs to have lifespans or souls from dead people in order to do this. So maybe Emu can run out eventually. Maybe it's like a certain type of person, you know, maybe a certain age or a certain race. I don't really know, but I think you're cooking. Emu using people, you know, for some power up, I think is very, very strong theory. Brandon King with the $2 super chat. Gear 5 Brook regains his body. Gunko reacts. Emu iced out. That would be cool. That would be really cool. So like Brook. So I guess in Gear 5, I don't know if Brook would necessarily regain his body, but at the same time, if imagination really comes into play, then maybe. You could also say, like, even if it's not Gear 5, Bonnie, right? Couldn't Bonnie just revert Brook's age back to when he's still human, and then Gunko can see old Brook again? I feel like that's almost like too easy. You know, maybe Oda does need to do Gear 5 to make it less easy, but I like that. Like Brook goes back into his, maybe Brook realizes first who Gunko is, and it's like, okay, maybe she is the girl from back then, and so maybe he asked Bonnie to do that, and then maybe that does ice Emu out a little bit. That's a really cool idea. Tosmorn, Ball of Flames again with the $5. Abyss can be used for the depths of the sea, but also as the realm of demons from which if you stare long enough, it will look back. Now, I love that you brought up the depths of the sea part, because that is something, even with Blackbeard's fruit, that I think a lot of people miss, is like whenever we think of darkness, you know, I think maybe you think of space or just, you know, the sun is gone, like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of like opposite of the sun god sort of things that people think of there. Also, it's kind of like a black hole, and certain stars can crash in on each other to become black holes, right? But the thing that people need to remember is also that like the abyss can also mean the depths of the sea. So like with Blackbeard's darkness, the very depths of the sea is pitch black. Light cannot get down there. The pressure is really high, so it crushes stuff, just like you would see in a black hole or whatever. And then also, Blackbeard can cancel devil fruit powers, which is maybe the most sea-connected part of his abilities, right? So I'm really glad you brought that up, because there's a reason Blackbeard has the darkness fruit, and we're seeing that abyss powers are as strong as they are. I think there's Oda set that up for a very specific reason. So yeah, I think you're cooking there. I also like what you said here, the realm of the demons from which if you stare long enough, it will look back. I feel like I've heard that phrase from somewhere before. I'm not sure where, but it seems like that's really true now, right? Like the abyss has demons in it, or converts people to demons. Is it like an alternate dimension with demonic versions of people? I don't know what it is, but yeah, you're cooking. Straw Hat AP, $2 super chat. Lafitte knows Doi Reversy. If that would be insane. That I would be very shocked by. But I do know that people have brought up how, you know, Lafitte has like wings in the one Marineford scene or Impel Down scene. So we know he has some kind of devil fruit, or we could 99.999% chance. And people in my video that I did on Lafitte said that it could be an angel fruit, which I don't know if it would just be an angel fruit, maybe like a specific angel from mythology that Oda could build off of. I think that might be more applicable. But the reason I bring that up is, you know, this Doi Reversy thing, it seems to be the exact opposite of an angel. So if Lafitte is like an angel-esque person, and it kind of flips Emu a little bit, that could be a pretty interesting outcome. Tosmorn again, thank you for all your super chats, man. All of you, seriously, thank you. For the $5. Okay, this is the Achilles thing, I think, from earlier that I asked about. Achilles' immortality came from his goddess mother dipping him in a magic pool and holding him by his ankle. Why Achilles' heel was his weakness. Oh, because he didn't have the Achilles dipped into the pool. You're right. Okay, and now I'm actually going to go back and reread what the original point was with that, because I can't remember. You said, I view coding or painting... I view it as coding or painting with demon energy, like how Achilles was dipped in the pool. Now I get exactly what you're saying. I actually really like that idea. Now, I guess... Yeah, and I guess that goes well with the idea I said earlier where, like, Emu has to dip them halfway, then flip them, and then pull them back, because it's like if you dip them all the way in, then maybe, like, you lose them. Or, like, I don't know the story from Achilles, but... Like, obviously, holding him by the ankle is why his ankle didn't get dipped in, but would his mom have, like, gotten hurt if she dipped her hand in? Because, like, if you dip him in its entirety in just your hand, like, would she have died or something? Or would she have had to, like, let go, and so he would have never come back out? Like, I don't know how that really works, but I think that does kind of pair well with what I was saying, where, like, Emu can't let them go all the way in, or else they can't come back or something. So I like that. Scopper Gabon, again... obviously you must be okay in the realm of the dead if you've sent another super chat, so thank you very much. Mural says God of Forest tame demons. That's Emu. I agree with that 1000%. That is one of my locks, that Emu is... I say the forest god loosely because, like, is there gonna be a fruit of the forest god? That, I mean, maybe, and maybe that's a fruit Emu doesn't have, and so maybe Emu is it more thematically. Like, maybe there's a world where that happens. But in general, I agree with you. The mural where it said the god of the forest tamed demons, I agree that's Emu. And I think that goes back to the first part of the mural where they said, the forbidden sun... there was the forbidden sun, the enslaved prayed, and the sun god appeared. I'm thinking the energy from the forbidden sun gave them the power, or gave whoever the first Nika was the power to become Nika, and then maybe everyone else became their own version of a demon because of that, because they had the forbidden sun energy. And maybe instead of being demons like we're seeing here, maybe they were all like angels, or maybe like Gear 5th-esque people. And then maybe that somehow, like Emu had to tame those demons, quote unquote. So I agree with that for sure. And then going back to what we were saying earlier, I think Blackbeard would make the most sense as the Earth God. And then it's all about who the Rain God is outside of that, which Dragon's a good guess. I think Buggy's a good guess. There's some other guesses, maybe Law, because he talked about how he's stronger in the rain. I don't know. Maybe there's some other ones, but yeah, I agree with you. Tosmorn. I almost said V-Hall again. Tosmorn, Vol of Flames. Again, $5 super chat. Emu is Sea God, creates devils. Forest God takes those devils and grows fruit from them. Earth God to wage war between humans and gods. So we literally were just talking about this. I should have read these back to back, honestly. I agree with the Earth God to wage war between humans and gods. I agree with that, because that's why I think Blackbeard will be the Earth God. Because if you go back to the mural, the first world... that kind of seems like what it was, or like there was a guy controlling, the power of the earth, which was the Forbidden Sun, and enslaving people, and I think that's a Blackbeard-esque guy, and so I agree with that. The only thing is the Emu is the sea god part, because in the mural, they talk about the sea god, but I'm pretty sure that is just Poseidon, because that's the god of the sea in Greek mythology, and since they mentioned two gods there, I feel like only one of them is going to be Emu, and so I think the forest god makes more sense. But obviously, Emu is a sea devil in a certain way, though, right? I think there's a lot of theories about that, where which, like, could sea devil also be a sea god? I mean, technically, I feel like devils are just the antithesis to gods, but they tend to have special powers and stuff, so they're kind of like gods. But yeah, so I think, Emu might be a sea devil thematically, but I think the earth god, or the forest god, if we're going to attach one of the four official ones, makes the most sense. And that's the other thing I was going to say is, since sea god is outside of the four Skypiea gods, I feel like that's definitely Poseidon. Because if it wasn't the god of the rain, but they said god of the sea, then I think we'd be in a different discussion. But because of that, I think the sea god is Poseidon. But hey, I could be wrong, because the mural The mural's crazy. I know I'm not getting everything right on the mural, so maybe I'm wrong. But Debus with the $7 Canadian super chat. Did the original 20 kings want to go against the ancient kingdom, or did Emu pronounce them kings and commanded them to? Now that is a really interesting thought. Whenever I first started reading this, that is not where I thought you were going to go, but I'm glad you did go that way, because that is a really interesting way to think about it. Like, let's take the Don Quixote, for example, or even Lily. Actually, Lily's a better example, I would say, because the Don Quixotes were bad people already. But think about Lily. Like, Lily isn't we can presume Lily isn't a bad person, you know, all things considered. Now, did Lily do some bad things at some point because they were originally part of the 20 Kings? I would say sure, but they're probably not as bad as the rest of them. But what if it's all because Lily got turned into a demon form, right? And so then Emu was controlling Lily the whole time. And so people have talked about the Emu possessing Lily idea, which is still on the table. I'm not saying it's ruled out. But in one video, I talked about how it might make more sense that Lily would have been basically hypnotized or whatever. I guess this is kind of hypnosis, sort of. A little bit different because there's a transformation, but it could be that Emu did that to all the kings, and because, you know, they just had to listen, that's kind of why this all happened. I would say it's more so the opposite, if I had to guess, where maybe the original 20 kings wanted to go against the ancient kingdom, but didn't know how to beat them. But then Emu came along with this demonic stuff, and so maybe they went along with it because it would let them beat the ancient kingdom. I think something like that might be the best of all the worlds. But either way, I love the idea. Smooth Weeb, Canadian $2. Could these demons have a relation with devil fruit demons? I definitely think so. No, I doubt they're the same, but like, for example, we see these people transform. These giants have all transformed into like a demonic version. So now let's go back to the Gorosei, who didn't have devil fruit names assigned into their Oda boxes, right? And so currently they don't have devil fruits. Maybe they will end up having it. Oda was hiding it for some reason, but currently they don't. It's never been officially stated. And so maybe what we're learning is like, you know, these demonic powers are a way to access devil fruit powers without eating a devil fruit. And so then how were devil fruits made? Maybe these powers were pulled out and then, you know, like we said with the forest god taming demons, somehow turned into fruits where now people are able to access all sorts of powers. Now, the slight problem with that is, like, all these guys are turning into demons. They're not getting, like, random powers like devil fruits have, so I think there would have to be more to it. But the idea that the Abyss is granting otherworldly powers, and maybe somehow somebody captured that and turned them into fruits for people to eat, you know, just without losing their mind and stuff, I think that could make a lot of sense. And also, one last thing about that, you know, zones, if you awaken and you don't control it, you lose, you know, you kind of lose your mind, like we saw in Impel Down, which Impel Down, with how many connections, you know, it has to hell and everything, that should be even more important now. But because you can lose your mind in awakening with a zone, I feel like that's sort of what's happening here, like a little bit. Maybe all these guys were given like demon fruit awakenings that they can't control. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, and again, it's not that exactly, but I don't know. I want to go see what the Abyss looks like. That's my takeaway. What are there just demons stomping around everywhere in there, or like what's going on? But Andy Dolph, the next one member for 19 months. Appreciate you, Andy. Could an awakened Robin mimic anyone? Flower Nika. That's really interesting. You know, it's weird because so she has a paramecia, and so her awakening should let her affect her surroundings. So I almost think her power would be more like turning the area around her into a different area. Like, you know, maybe she can turn, maybe the awakening lets her not just turn into a demon, but turn the entire area into the Abyss or something. That I think would actually be really crazy. But as far as Robin mimicking everyone, I'm 50-50. Like, I could definitely see Robin turning into like a Gear 5 Robin. That I can definitely see, for sure. I think Robin can turn into other versions of herself. But can she turn or could she turn into anybody literally? Like a Robin version of someone is one thing, but can she turn into literally another person? That I'm kind of 50-50 on. But I could see Gear 5 Robin. I could see it. JR Writer 203, $5 super chat. Do you think these devils could be the impetus to enter the heaven realm? Maybe they need angelic help here. I love that, dude. That is a great thought. Oh, dude, that is phenomenal. And also we saw that Scopper fell to the realm of the dead, and now we see all these demons popping up, and so it's just kind of like the reminder of the different realms we have. And so now that the demons are officially here, and our person who might be able to stop them fell to the realm of the dead, maybe now is the time to go up and learn more from the heaven realm. And so who could have the key up there? Look, if it's my boy Yarouge, you guys know I've been saying Yarouge is up there waiting for us, praying over Harold's grave. So if it's Yarouge, I'm gonna be real pumped about that. I mean, what secret could he or anybody have that would, like you said, angelic help? Like who would that be? I mean, Yarouge with the karma stuff, that's like the only thing I can think of. I mean, like if Enel came down with the Arc Maxim, would Giant Laser Blast do something? I genuinely have no idea. I don't know who else would be up there. So, I love the idea. Whoever it is, I love it. Hogan with the $10 super chat. You know the energy from Gear 5 that somehow awoke Emeth? I'd bet an extra shiny quarter that the energy can somehow undo this demonic inversion ability. Thoughts? So you're saying the drums of liberation might undo the control here? That's interesting. As far as the Emeth connection goes, and I know you probably weren't thinking about it as literally as I was, but just to break it down, the Emeth woke up because the drum, like he heard the drums, he's familiar with them, and he's a robot, and he runs on the ancient power source, so like he probably still had power, he just needed to turn on. And so that's more about going from dead, quote unquote, to alive. And now we're seeing these guys that, again, they're still alive, but they're, demonic. They went to the underworld. They're like kind of dead. We don't know if it's actually the underworld, but the abyss seems to be pretty close. So it seems like almost the reverse, where these guys were like killed in a certain way, or at least their former ways were, and now they've transformed. So I guess thinking about it that way, I don't know if they would stop, like if they would, like the transformation would cancel. But I could see them having a Gunko situation where, like, remember earlier when Emu said, like, without reason or common sense, right? No longer shalt thou be bound by reason nor by common sense, which that really ties me back to the Zone Awakening, losing your mind thing, by the way. But maybe whenever Gear 5 activates, since these guys aren't running on reason or common sense, maybe whenever they hear that sound, they just start breaking into dance and joining him or something. And maybe that's it. Like, Emu's like, okay, like, I had this all under control, and now you're bringing in this fun stuff, and these guys can't stay focused because of it. That, I could see something like that. No matter what, though, I will say Gear 5 is going to have some interplay with this. Like, I don't know if it'll be just that he can cancel it or what exactly, if he can nullify it or whatever, but there is going to be an interplay here. There's a reason why Nika scares the God's Knight so much. And also, remember, Gunko said Nika was her greatest fear, and Gunko is, it's kind of Emu, whoever, is being used right now. So maybe that's what it's going to come back to. Maybe whenever Gear 5 Luffy appears, so Nika is back, that's gonna... It could also just be that it affects Emu. Like, maybe Gear 5 popping up scares Emu, and so then Emu, isn't able to keep control of everybody as much because they're worried. That would be cool, too. So there's going to be some connection there, Hogan, for sure. King Recon, I saw yours, my guy. We're definitely going to have to talk. Lee B, super chatted Canadian $5. What if people with the Will of D are immune to Emu's control? I love that. So we talked about that a little bit earlier, and I'm glad you said it, so I can, I guess, just tie that point back together. I'm gonna text my friend real quick and let him know I'm gonna be a little late, but that's okay. He'll be fine. Cool. I just texted him. He'll be all right. But I'm glad you said that, so I could just have one more send off with that thought, because I really like it. Would it be that they're immune to the control, or would it be that they already were controlled, but like they were demons, got freed, and then went on to have children, and so now it's like a weird middle ground where Imu can't mess with them because they've already been demonetized. You know what I mean? So there's something with the Will of D, guys. I don't know what it is. I'm actually gonna think. I know I've said this a bunch of times, but whenever I go hang out with my friend, and while I'm thinking about this next video, you guys can bank on this Will of D thing being a big part to whatever that video ends up being. Tosmorn, Vol of Flames, with 2 super chats that total to I was gonna say $7, but technically it's $6.98. But regardless. You said Soul King Brook revived ghost giants to fight. Oh, are you saying like some Heaven Realm nonsense? Hold on. So wait, I don't know if this is what you were saying, but now that I thought of it, imagine Brook goes to the Heaven Realm, awakens, and let's say the Heaven Realm is the graveyard, which I've said for a long time. Brook awakens in the Heaven Realm. All the giants wake up and come back to life. All the giants who died from the past, maybe ones who were even alive in the Void Century, and they come back, so we have demon giants versus demon giants. Look, I doubt it'll happen because I don't think Oda's going to bring people back again. But if Oda does, do it this way. Because that would also let Brook kind of like control zombies, and he was introduced in Thriller Bark, and so it's kind of like the same thing. Again, I don't even know if that's what you were saying, but that idea got me too excited, so I had to say it. But then you also said, all living things have haki. Soul has weight. Shadows carry spirit. Objects can gain wills. Emotion impacts the world. I think Imu can create new devil fruits. And I'm 50-50 because like creating new devil fruits, do you think it can happen like willy-nilly, like Imu can imagine a power and just pop it out of thin air? That I have a little bit of like, I have a little bit of doubt and maybe just more so concern if that was the case. But I agree with you in this context of maybe Imu can take people's powers, or like maybe take like a living creature to make a zone fruit, take someone's imagination, and maybe they get sucked into a tree or something. I don't know how that all works. But I think Imu can create new ones, but it's going to require something. And maybe it's something that Imu doesn't have anymore, so Imu hasn't been able to make new ones in a long time. I'm not exactly sure what the breakdown is, but I agree with you with an asterisk, I guess. Going back to the Forest God stuff, if Imu did do it in the past, that would definitely hint to us that Imu can do it again. And I think that would be the Eve tree, so I think you might be onto something. Mick Pulsar with the $10 super chat. Is it possible that Imu purposely trapped Brook in the Florian Triangle due to something he knew? I like that. Maybe the giant silhouette was actually Imu noticing that Brook was free. I really like that. Like, the question would be, why wouldn't Imu just kill them all or send them into the ocean if Imu was that concerned? So I would say maybe not. But at the same time, we don't know Imu's, maybe for Imu it was better that Brook would be lost because of the Gunko thing, where if Brook died, and then maybe people knew that he died, that might trigger Gunko's memory. Remember for Sabo, how he remembered who Ace was and all of the brotherly stuff after he read the paper that Ace died? Well, it might be the same kind of thing where Imu is like, I do not want Gunko to hear a single thing about Brook. We're going to let him get stuck out in the middle of nowhere forever, and then we'll never have to worry about it. Because of Brook, like I said, if he died, she would hear it. If he got out of the Florian Triangle, she would find him eventually. And so I really like that. And then as far as the Gillouette, I almost combined those words. The giant silhouettes you're talking about, the Florian Triangle monsters or whatever, maybe they actually noticed that Brook was free. I do think that's a big part. And I don't know if it's Brook necessarily or the Straw Hats, but in my Florian Triangle video, which ended up getting age restricted, so that's why the video didn't do that well, but the stats are really good. So if you have not watched that video, I highly recommend it. It just, like I said, it got killed by the age restriction. But in that video, I talked about how the timing of Kuma reporting the Straw Hat's escape is perfect, with that being Emu, where or if it's not actually Emu, maybe an Emu controlled entity, but the timing works perfectly where Kuma would be able to like tell the government, hey, Emu, or hey, the Straw Hats escaped, and like right away the Florian Triangle monsters would have been there, because we actually see Kuma report on it later, like after we see the monsters, but the context of that scene is that Kuma, it's like after Kuma's already said it. Like we get into that scene with people mad at Kuma for not capturing them, so we know he told them even before that scene. So it is possible that they heard, hey, the Straw Hats escaped, and Emu's like, oh my god, I gotta go, and Emu just didn't get there in time. So I actually really like that idea, Mick Pulsar, that it's actually for Brook and not Luffy. Brook's getting so much hype, man. You'll hear no complaints from me. Alejandro Solis with the $2. White Afro versus Black Book. Ideas versus transcripts. That's interesting. And I actually, speaking about White Afro versus Black Book, even White Afro versus Black Afro, like, whenever Luffy goes into Gear 5, it's a white afro. It's a loose afro. It's, it's on fire, but whatever. And obviously most afros we see are just black, like with Brooks, for example. So there's actually that comparison there too. But you also said ideas versus transcripts. I kind of like that too, but I still don't know what to make of this book, man. I don't. It reminds me of Kuma's book also. Like Kuma carried around a Bible with him, and so now I'm just like, is there, was that like a real Bible, and this is like the demonic manuscript? Is this the devil's Bible? Like, I don't know what this is, but yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. Nick Ilvento, member for 10 months. Emu controls people's will in a story about will. That is interesting, because you also think about like how important inherited will is. Dragon even said that's one thing that cannot be stopped. And so now we see Emu here completely flipping people's will over. And so now I'm wondering, like, where did their will go? Like, are they just hypnotized so they do have their will still there? Or is their real self like in the abyss? Like, did their real self get flipped into there? And so, it's not that Dory or Brogy's will like is completely muted. It's like it's literally like a new person in his body. I don't know. Like, the will angle of this is going to be really important. Mick Pulsar with the $5. Just had a thought. When Luffy went to Impel Down to rescue Ace, he was chasing the Forbidden Sun. So are you saying Ace is the Forbidden Sun? Because, I mean, well, for one thing, he's in level 6, but he has the fire powers. He had, the Entei attack that looked like a sun. If that's what you're saying, that Ace is the Forbidden Sun, because he's also the Forbidden SON Sun, right? The Roger's son, the Forbidden Sun in that way. That's actually really cool. Like, Luffy went down to the depths of the underworld to go get the Forbidden Sun. That's actually fire, Mick Pulsar. That is fire. I love that. Mr. Bushido with the €5 super chat. Bushido, welcome, man. This was a crazy chapter. I'm excited to see what you got to say. Maybe this is why the Gorosei are so old. They traded lifespan for power. The Knights don't age normally unless their youth is their cash. Kureha secret connected. I totally agree with the Kureha connection, by the way. I brought that up in the redacted video about biofeedback because, we're talking about immortality a lot here. We're wondering about eternal youth and aging and all that kind of stuff. We met Jarl, who's the oldest living giant. If there's a time for Kureha to come back, it's right now. Like, literally right now. So I love that idea. In general, you're talking about how the Gorosei maybe traded their lifespan for power. And, well, okay, actually, now I gotta think about it, because you said the God's Knights don't age normally, but it's tough because Gunko doesn't age normally, but Garling does. And so that's something I brought up in my Brook video that is unreleased, that I will release it at some point. I got to make changes. But in there, I talk about that. We're like, okay, so Gunko hasn't aged, and she's a God's Knight. But Garling has aged, and he's the supreme commander of the God's Knights. What is the connection there, right? And now Garling is a Gorosei, so I don't know if that'll be the chance to maybe uncover some of those specifics, because he'll talk about maybe why he didn't have eternal youth already, and maybe the Gorosei will. I don't really know how that all breaks down, but in general, I agree that the Kureha stuff is going to come to light very soon with the immortality. Like, whatever Not that Kureha's secret is the same as the Gorosei, mind you, or the God's Knights. I'm sure they're slightly different, but I think Kureha's secret is actually how you stop them. Like, you know, if you know her secret, you'll be able to reverse engineer it. Something like that. So, and then you also had one more here. Do you think Robin is connect to Emu with the demon theme? Yeah, for sure. We talked about this a little bit earlier. But Robin, you know, turning into a demon form of herself and like accepting her true self, and now we see everyone else turning into a demon, and Robin's obviously also the one who's gonna uncover the truth of the world. And I think there was also something like where Emu said, yeah, becoming a demon is truly the pinnacle of existence. And so that angle of it too is really interesting. Thinking about how Robin, like, her strongest form is her demon form. Like, once she fully accepted the demonic side of herself, she's like, all right, well, now I can beat Black Maria. You know, there is something there. So I don't know what Oda's gonna do as far as like what Robin will say or do in the future, or like what Robin is gonna tell Emu, because I'm sure, you know, if Robin goes into demon mode and Emu's like, oh, see, I told you, like, being a demon's great, like, there's going to be some interplay there. I don't know what Robin's going to say, but there's something there. And then you also had one more super chat, and this is the last one. Then I got to go because I'm already going to be late, but he'll be all right. My friend will be all right. And like I said, we'll be talking about this a lot this weekend, at least a redacted video. I'm going to be rushing a real full channel video on it. Worst case scenario, I'll just do the Brooke backstory one. I don't know. Either way, we're going to have some content out. So even though I got to go, rest assured, there's more coming. But last super chat for today, Mr. Bushido, you said, Garling also traded his youth for more authority. It's tough because, like, you also think about Summers and how he's older, but then, like I said, Gunko hasn't aged, and so there's like a mixed bag of, like, some age, some don't, some let themselves get old, because, like, you're probably not in your prime when you're old, right? So, like, if I'm a God's Knight and I get to opt into this eternal youth whenever I choose, I'm not gonna choose my oldest state, because that's not gonna be my strongest. I'm gonna choose my prime, you know, like right before I start, you know, going downhill. And so I could see Garling now getting eternal youth because he's joining the Gorosei, but it feels really weird that he wouldn't have done it earlier. And then, like, Gunko's probably in her prime, but like I said, Summers is older. Killingham, we have no idea what's going on with him. But Summers is older, so same thing for him. If he has eternal youth, which we don't really know, because immortality in terms of regeneration is different than immortality in terms of eternal youth. I'm of the mind that you need to get both and that they don't come from the same place. So maybe Emu can grant you immortality in terms of regeneration, but maybe you need to go get eternal youth via the Op-Op fruit to be truly immortal, so that way you don't age and you can't get hurt, because if you only have one, then there's still a way to get around it. There's probably a way to get around it even if you have both, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, and the last thing I'll say, because then I really got to go, but a little bit of a spoiler for the Brook video, but an idea that I thought of was, what if Gunko was taken before God Valley, and maybe before God Valley, all the God's Knights, or maybe just the God's Knights that won at the cleansings, maybe they were given the Op-Op fruit for the eternal youth surgery, so that way, like, the winner of every cleansing got eternal youth. But then maybe at God Valley, because of everything that went down, they lost the Op-Op fruit, and then Garling couldn't get the operation, and that's why he is aging, but not Gunko, because Gunko got it before they lost it. And that might explain why the fruit went on to have a 5 billion berry bounty, which is, like, insane numbers, right? So yeah, I mean, a little bit of a spoiler for the video. I got a lot more thoughts to add now, but all right, guys. Also, shout out to Neon Roger and Kanu, ending at it tied for #1 on this random community leaderboard thing they introduced. Shout out you guys. Kanu, I saw you just said I was gone for a while and now I'm #2. I think you get points for lurking. But all right, guys. I do have to go now. I'm super late, so it was great chapter. We'll be talking about this a lot, and we'll be back next week for the next reaction. So we're eating. Neon Roger, I also wanted to say, I saw a comment from you about a theory you had on my last video, and I didn't want to read. I knew you weren't going to spoil me, but I just did not want to go in the comments in case I got spoiled, but I'm going to go back and look at that whenever I get a chance and respond to you.